Everything that you dislike about what the Biden administration does is fully funded by the Republican-controlled Congress. There was some good news also this week. The left had tried to, as we talked about, well, I don't know if we talked about it last week. I think we predicted what was going to happen, and it was even worse than we thought in terms of what the Democrats and Republican leadership in the Senate wanted to push forward in this immigration bill. They were hoping, because typically what happens is they release something at the last minute, the establishment wants it, they slide it through, the House gets rolled, and it gets passed into law. In this case, that all blew apart because of you. We did it. We stopped this legislation that would have enshrined under law an invasion of the United States, made no effective changes in the way our immigration law is administered to stop anyone from crossing the border illegally or curtailing the flood that's coming in generally. It would have continued left-wing funding of left-wing groups that are aiding and abetting the invaders, while at the same time, on the other end, just sending all this foreign aid out without much checks. I'm not necessarily opposed to some money going to some of our friends in fights and such, but certainly not the way the Biden administration's doing it. And so that's what the plan was, to make the border crisis worse by giving Biden an out and really making it impossible for any next president to significantly curtail illegal immigration. And we won. I mean, how many times have you heard me complain about something's going to happen? I tell you to call and do something about it, and you all call, right? But sometimes it mostly gets through, right? I mean, we end up losing. So the next question is, what is the House going to do about this, the Republican-controlled House? Because their effort to impeach Mayorkas failed this week. That's another big news story. And they may bring it up again. It was a voting game, and they didn't have enough votes present. Steve Scalise was sick. There was a Democrat who they didn't think was going to be there who ended up being there. Long story short, the vote didn't turn out the way they wanted to get Mayorkas impeached. And as I said previously, I don't know if I said it here, impeaching Mayorkas may be necessary, but is it sufficient? Of course not. Because A, he's not going to be removed ultimately, and he's not going to stop doing what he's doing. And of course, Biden is ultimately responsible for this. So the question I have is, why do we keep on funding? And I've asked it again, and I'll keep on asking it as long as our country's being under assault through this invasion. Why is the Republican-controlled Congress and the Senate, which is really 50-50 more or less, I mean, I know Democrats control it, but it's really 50-50, fully funding the Biden border invasion? Everything they're complaining about Mayorkas is doing, they've completely fully funded just as soon as 3 weeks ago through a continuing resolution. And they're going to do it in the beginning of next month again, you can be sure. I mean, this is a tool available to Congress to police and protect the Republic, which is a spending tool. Everything that you dislike about what the Biden administration does is fully funded by the Republican-controlled Congress. I don't understand why it is they expect us to get outraged when they call attention to what's going on, while at the same time they will have fully funded it repeatedly over time. In addition, why isn't Biden being impeached for the border invasion? Heck, I mean, if you're concerned that Biden is not capable of being president because of cognitive difficulties, why don't you shut the government down until he resigns? And that's a tool available under the Constitution, and as a leverage the power of Congress, the spending power. And they may win or they may lose those battles, but those are the sorts of battles necessary. If you think the Republic is on the line, of course you should be willing to engage in a partial government shutdown, which, as you know, is not a real shutdown in any sense of the word. but it's a leverage point to get policy objectives accomplished. And I'm not talking, well, higher taxes versus lower taxes, this money here versus that money there. I'm talking about like basics. No invasion, no censorship of Americans, stop spending money on Jack Smith to jail President Trump, right? This Robert Hur report, his name is Robert, isn't it? I could be calling him by the wrong name. Yeah, Robert Hur. This is a reason for the Republicans to shut down the Justice Department prosecutions of Trump, certainly on the documents, in the least. So that's the news today in Washington. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like our video down below.